The mayor of Memphis humiliates an entire MSNBC panel and leaves them speechless after debunking their claims that Donald Trump sending in the National Guard is both racist and pointless. They assumed because he was a black man, he would automatically go along with their race-hustling pro-crime narrative, and he doesn't just make them speechless, he makes them angry. Make sure you watch till the end because I saved the best clip for last, where the host starts to get so frustrated he won't give them the answer they want, and you can see it all over her face. As always, like the video and subscribe to the channel, but before we hear from the well-to-do panelists on MSNBC how the National Guard would be pointless, let's hear from the actual residents on the street.
And you know, it's just so dangerous that you can't get out of your car, you can't go to the grocery store, you can't go to the market or the service station. So yeah, I want to see the crime stop. And if the National Guard is going to stop the crime, bring them out.
Seymour says after losing a loved one to gun violence last year, she wants tougher laws to keep violent offenders behind bars.
I can get another purse or whatever, but I know I can't get no another life. When they go to jail for these crimes, these aggravated crimes, y'all gonna have to leave them in jail with no bond. You cannot give them no bond. They're gonna make it and they're gonna get out of jail and commit more crimes and harm more people.
What's insane about the Democrats is they claim to be the party standing up for black people, yet over 90% of all of these inner city murders are black victims. They are opposing Donald Trump from saving black lives because they don't want him to solve this crucial issue for a voting base that they're already hemorrhaging. They are playing politics with the lives of black people. But despite Memphis being a majority black city and a majority of these victims being black people, this MSNBC host says Donald Trump is racist for wanting to save black people's lives. Take a look.
I know that if there was a particular area that had to deal with crime, and certainly there were parts of Maryland that did, the first call for help was not from the federal government. It was working with the city, working with the county, working with the municipalities to create solutions in our state. And if it was beyond our capacity, sir, then maybe we would call for federal help. But so I don't understand what's different. It wouldn't have anything to do with the fact that Memphis is a largely black municipality, would it?
I mean, look how gleeful he is at pushing a racist narrative. This isn't journalism, this is propaganda. But let me make sure I understand his argument. It's because Donald Trump wants to save the lives of black people who are disproportionately the victims of violent gun crime. That's what makes him racist. But we also know that if he was sending the National Guard to a primarily white area, they would call him racist for focusing all his efforts on protecting the white community. I'll never forget when Donald Trump held an event for Black History Month this year, the media called him racist for it. But if he hadn't held an event, they would have used it as proof that he doesn't care about black people. He doesn't recognize their significance. He's completely ignoring Black History Month. But let's hear what the mayor has to say in response because he completely debunks everything that guy just said.
Yeah, so Memphis is the largest majority black city in the nation. It's something that I wear as a badge of honor, and I think it's something that we should be proud of. I will say that Governor Lee, certainly he can speak for himself, but I will say that they have been partners with the city on a number of initiatives they've supported with Tennessee Highway Patrol, helping us on our interstates, and they provide significant funding in the form of violent crime intervention funds that help with some of those intervention and prevention strategies that I talked about. I'll have to let him speak to his position on the National Guard itself, but my goal as mayor of the city is to make sure that whatever decisions that are made that are outside the control of me as mayor, that we figure out how to turn it into a win for our community, and that's my goal in this situation.
Run that clip back and look at the host's face as the mayor tells him all the things the state has been doing to help and shut down his lie that they just went straight to the federal government to try to put a boot on the neck of this majority black city. They're mad Donald Trump is playing 4D chess and running circles around them once again. The only defense Illinois, New York, California had against the National Guard is they have to be welcomed by the governor. And they were saying, why doesn't Donald Trump focus on the red states? There's crime in the red states. And so that's exactly what he did, is focused on Tennessee. And he got the permission from the governor of Tennessee. But mind you, even though they got what they want and he's starting in a red state, they're now up in arms because he's targeting a majority black city, even though Memphis has the highest murder rates in the entire United States. But all these Democrats have been trying to say, we're willing to accept federal assistance, just not in the form of the National Guard. But once Trump is able to significantly reduce crime in Memphis, all while having the permission of the governor, it's going to put so much pressure on Illinois and California and New York, when Trump can point to proof that it didn't just work in DC. It worked in Memphis. And it'll put these Democrat governors in a position where they still have to deny the federal partnership, even with undeniable proof that the assistance works. But they'll talk about these magical social programs, these crime prevention programs, mentorship programs, where they pay a whole bunch of ex-gang members and ex-felons to act as the mentorship for these troubled youth. Well, let's take a look and see how well that's working in Chicago. Days before fatal Mag Mile crash and grab, accused man posed with the governor at a peacekeeper event while wanted in 4 states. Less than a week before a crash and grab burglary crew killed an innocent man of the Magnificent Mile last Thursday, one of the men now charged with that murder donned a peacekeeper uniform and posed for a one-on-one picture with Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. While that's troubling, some law enforcement experts are more concerned that the accused man was able to stand directly next to the state's most powerful executive despite having outstanding warrants in 4 states. Just 6 days earlier, McMiller and Pritzker posed side by side for a picture as the governor met with peacekeepers in Inglewood. In a press release issued later that day, the government's office called the group trusted members in the community. It's folks like these that we need more of doing the hard work of community violence prevention, Pritzker said on Facebook, not troops on the ground to undermine the efforts fighting crime. So there you have it. This is just a giant money laundering scheme where they can steal federal funds, send money to these violent nonprofits who are doing violence prevention, so ex-felons and gang members can have the cover of being community leaders while they still commit heinous crimes on the side. But this next host is the one who really gets frustrated. Listen to her leading, false narrative pushing propaganda question, and then I'll show you the mayor absolutely rocking her world.
Mayor, I guess I'm just wondering, what in Washington, D.C., where, you know, the chairman and I, we live in D.C., I'm in New York right now with Ms. Menendez here, but in Washington, D.C., the National Guard is picking up trash. They are literally, ANC commissioners have sent out emails asking for suggestions from the citizens of the district about what beautification projects the National Guard can participate in. So what exactly can the Guard do for you in Memphis, Tennessee? Like, you got a trash problem? I thought some of the things that you have been working on in terms of working with the violence interrupters, talking to the gangs, those kind of things are things that I'm familiar with that you have been engaged on, that have worked to bring some of to try to get your arms around the issue of crime in your city. What is the National Guard going to do for you? And I'm asking in this way because I hear you saying it's your understanding they're coming, but what they going to do when they get there?
I'm only asking this way because I'm trying to paint the picture that the National Guard is pointless. And because they're working on beautification projects in Washington, D.C., that's proof that they're not needed there. This is the problem with these overly educated liberals who brag about their college degree but are void of any common sense. If the National Guard has time to work on beautification projects, that proves that their deterrence is working. There is so little crime in DC because the National Guard is there that the police department is easily able to handle what little bits of crime there are left. It would be like saying, why is the United States military so big and powerful? We're not even in a war. The fact that we're not in a war proves the efficacy of the size of our military, which is supposed to be so big and powerful, it deters people. I don't have any cavities. Why should I go to the dentist? I don't feel sick. Why should I go to a yearly checkup? For people who are in love with vaccines, you would think they understand the concept of a preventative solution. But let's listen to the mayor destroy this lady's entire worldview and make sure you look at her face because she starts to get really, really frustrated.
Well, I mean, we're still working to figure that out, but I certainly have a list of things that I think they could help with. We do have issues with blight in our community, and if there is a way for them to help support our team on that front, we have a deficit of about 300 to 500 officers that we need. And while they won't be serving in a law enforcement capacity, there may be things that they can do on major events and help coordinate traffic and things like that when we have big crowds, as we get into football season with the University of Memphis or Grizzlies game. So I think that as we have conversations, we can certainly find ways to use their support to back up the efforts of our Memphis Police Department and our Shelby County Sheriff's Department.
She said, well, what the National Guard gonna do when they get there? And he proceeds to give her an entire list of things that they could do that would be extremely beneficial. And she cannot stand it at all. They are of the belief that the National Guard in Memphis is both racist and unnecessary. But as you heard from the ladies in the beginning and the mayor throughout this whole thing, that isn't the case. But they won't change their perspective on this issue because the truth doesn't matter to them. In fact, the truth frustrates them, as you saw. This just shows the pretzel Donald Trump has forced the Democrats to warp themselves into, to where they're defending crime now. But because their anti-Trump position supersedes everything else, they have to actively ignore the voices of the people they're claiming to stand on behalf of. The Democrats are preachy, pretentious, self-righteous people who feel obligated to stand up on behalf of people who never asked for it and then actually advocate for the exact opposite of what these people want. But I can't wait to see the reaction from J.B. Pritzker and Gavin Newsom after Donald Trump fixes the crime problem in Memphis. They're either going to welcome assistance and Donald Trump wins, or they deny it and Donald Trump still wins, because they'll be able to point to the success of D.C. and Memphis and blame J.B. Pritzker and Gavin Newsom for forcing their constituents to endure and suffer. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on those notification bells so you never miss a video. And I will see you guys in the next one.